Happy Tuesday, folks. Welcome to Wake Up Charlotte to Go. This morning we're talking about something that much of Charlotte, and actually much of the country, probably is going to be talking about. And it's because of a gentleman known as Cam Newton, who we know well here in the Charlotte area, made some controversial statements. Some people think there's nothing wrong with what he said. Some people are wildly offended by what he said. And it's basically about what he feels like a woman's role is in a relationship.
Right. So it all started, he was on a recent podcast, Barstool Sports, $1 million worth of game. And he basically was talking about his upbringing, his childhood, and how his parents have been married for nearly 40 years. And he saw how his mom really, raised the family and also treated his dad. And so he was asked, what do you think a woman is, or how should she be portrayed, I guess, in the household? And he said his comments about what he think a woman is, and we talked about it on the show today. And then he also referred to women who call themselves boss chicks and what he thinks that should be. Do we have the comments that I put up on the show today, just so I can make sure I read that?
Okay, it looked like they had this soundbite ready.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and play the soundbite.
A woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss, like I'm a this, I'm a that, no, baby, like, but you can't cook.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead.
I think it was that last part.
Yeah.
But some people, let us know. Some people like listening. What do you think about what he said? Let us know in the comments.
Listen, so many people on social media are reacting. A lot of people are saying, hey, a woman should know how to cook, and a woman should know how to let the man lead. And then other people are saying that he is not the best person to comment on these things. They did go back to 2017 when he made comments about a reporter, about her talking about routes and how that was funny, and just saying that he doesn't have a history of being in the limelight of talking about this in the best way when it comes to women, in general. So I'm seeing different sides.
Yeah, LaGrace Perry saying that's his opinion, and I think everybody has a right to their own opinion, but I do think that a lot of people in the Christian community would say it is the man or the husband's role to lead or be the head of the household. But I think calling it a boss, what he said, or not being able to cook doesn't mean you are not a great woman or a great mother or a great wife.
Everybody has, I feel like, in a relationship, their pros and what they can do, what they can't do. I think it's the compromise. I think it's what worked best for you. So maybe if this works for him, then, that works for him on what he thinks his differences is. But I think a lot of people will definitely say, yes, I see the woman, letting the man lead. And then also maybe a different way, but that is just whatever floats for your relationship.
Beth says, what a sexist jerk. So Beth feels strongly in one direction. And Joy says, I'm my own woman. I don't cater to anyone but myself.
Now, you said, his parents married 37 years.
Totally.
His dad's a pastor. His mom led worship in church. They still do. And so at Holy Zion Church, right outside of Atlanta. And so I think with each individual person, sometimes you look at how they're raised, and I'm sure he looks to his parents as an example and says, that's what I want in a woman.
Totally.
And then that's the tradition in some Christian families for that to happen, especially when you grow up in the church. You definitely see it. I'm just speaking from my perspective, growing up in the church, you see things in a different light than maybe what generations are doing today. But again, time changes, and so does relationships. I think it's just what works best for you, and if you want to stick to traditions, okay. I think is how he said it, maybe. He did say in the interview that he didn't want to degrade women in this situation, but again, people are going to take what you say and then they're going to give their opinions
For one, I think, I'll just insert my brief opinion here. Cam can want whatever he wants. Anybody can. And if he finds a woman who wants the same thing, good for him. My question is the other part of this conversation that we never saw, that I don't think actually happened. Because he talked about men briefly in their role, but not really going into specifics. I would like to, Cam, if you would like to come on, Wake Up Charlotte to Go.
Please, and let's talk about it.
At any point, we would love to have you come on, because my question then for Cam would be, all right, you want a woman who's going to cook, or you want a woman who's going to let you lead. okay, then what can she expect out of you?
Right. Facts. That's super fair.
What are her expectations? What are you going to do? What are you going to cater to?
I mean, in the interview, he said men should be men. So my question would be, coming off of that statement, is he saying men should be men in a certain way so the woman can feel like she can submit? I guess you can say.
I don't know, and I think that would be a fair question.
There's a lot of questions that we need answered following this interview.
And also, it should be said, you know, if Cam wants these things and has these expectations from a partner, then a lot of women, I mean, I would think, would want a ring on their finger.
Right.
Am I wrong?
Right. Because marriage is one of the most selfless things you can do, because you have someone with a mirror in your face saying, you know, and you have to meet in the middle, and you have to be able to serve each other.
Totally.
And that's why marriage can be a beautiful thing. Hard, but a beautiful thing. Jay said, I cook in our house, and I'm fine with my wife being the boss.
Okay,
see?
Well, like my grandmother always said, happy wife, happy life.
Yep. Melissa says, what Cam says and does doesn't affect me. I do my best to take care of my own marriage first and foremost. I
think you referenced it at the beginning, but I think there's some historical context here, because I think 2017 he had an exchange with a then Observer reporter about his technique. And that sort of, I think that's in the back of a lot of people's mind.
Right.
Take a listen to this.
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes.
That was his reaction. She was asking her routes, and people were not happy about that.
Yeah.
And he actually ended up giving a formal apology later. She went on to work at the Athletic, is doing an amazing job. But I think people have remembered that, and so when they hear the comments from yesterday, they're like,
here's another, you know, even if he meant well or not, it's like, okay, you had this situation where you were on camera saying this live, and then here we go again.
He probably thought it was funny what he was saying, and then it came out all wrong. And I'm sure he doesn't have a lot of, I guess, women in his life that are super involved with sports or like sports. It's very much something you think your grandfather would say, right?
Right.
Probably felt like he was hanging out with the guys and saying these things and not realizing.
But people didn't like that. I mean, people came for his neck. Women came for his neck during that time in 2017. So now it's like this. It's like, oh, so you didn't learn your lesson about, you know.
That's what I think a lot of people were worried about.
Keeping what you think sometimes to yourself. But then I also think Cam is his own person. Like, we've noticed that too. So.
And if people are asking him on to a radio show or podcast show or something, he's in the limelight, and they're going to ask his opinion.
They're going to ask provocative things,
and
just like we would.
Opinion.
But we should say also he's a free agent right now, and the NFL has come under fire. The New York Attorney General is investigating the NFL for its treatment of women. So there is a broader conversation happening right now within the NFL
of how this could play a major factor
about how women are treated within the organization. So the timing for him probably is not the best. But so we would know, Cam, come on the show anytime you want, and we want to know what women should expect from you,
right?
Because I think that's the other part of this conversation.
Because if I'm cooking and I'm cleaning, then what are you?
Totally.
You are his queen.
Right. Continue to weigh in, Tony. I can't repeat your comment, but I'm sure other people feel just the same. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here tomorrow morning with another edition of A Wake Up Show to Go.
Bye, everybody.